Around the time that I was starting to be able to talk, to listen, to follow instructions and stuff, something strange happened. I was starting to unable to hear things. My parents would call my name and I wouldn't respond. It wasn't because I was not listening, it's just I couldn't hear. The bizarre thing was that when the phone would ring, I would turn my head towards it since I could hear it. My dad owned a business, so he was very busy with that. So what any loving mother would do, she took care of all the stuff that I needed to be able to grow and prosper. The first thing that she needed to do was try to see what was wrong with my hearing. She took me to a hearing test, and the test came back inconclusive because I wasn't paying attention or responding. It was probably most because of age. The person suggested that I might be deaf and I should go to a deaf school. My mom made an appointment with a deaf school, and she didn't even make the appointment. She walked into the school and walked right out. It didn't think that would be a possibility because I could hear a telephone ring, but I couldn't hear a normal speaking tone. A year later, when I grew older and was more, serious about it, I took the test. They saw that I had mild to severe hearing loss, that I would need hearing aids probably for the rest of my life. What a lot of people don't realize is that when you're unable to hear for the first few years of your life, your speech becomes really slurred and your grammar skills are very bad. When I went to school, my mom thought of my disability first and then the education. She needed to know that I was going to be in good hands. There was a special program with these kids, and they either have physical or mental disabilities. There's also a side program where they would take the students and put them into a regular classroom setting and see how they would adapt to a regular classroom setting. That happened for one grade. I would do a class or two and see how I handled it. They gave me the okay, and by the second grade, I was fully immersed into the school education system. The only difference I had a physical disability. While my speech and grammar were so bad, I had to work on it for around 18 years to make it as good as it's going to get. While I did have a physical disability, I excelled in other classes. The only thing I couldn't excel in was an English class and speaking. My speech was slurred and my grammar skills were not up to par to the rest of the classroom. It is easier to fix your problem when you're young because writing and speaking is like a habit. Since I was so young, the habit wasn't fully ingrained into me. But I'm also not saying that it was easy to break. For some reason, the part of my brain that was focused on grammar skills didn't develop in the way that the rest of the kids did, so I always had a problem with learning grammar and stuff. It's like I had to relearn it, and it took many years to be on the same level as the rest of my classmates. My speech even took longer. The good thing is that you speak all the time, but the thing that since you speak all the time, you're in this old habit and you're trying to change into this new habit. So you always have to constantly think of how to pronounce those letters properly. The thing is that when you're young, you don't like to be told what to do. So I kind of just would do well in the speech therapy class, but I wouldn't be able to apply it to the rest of my life. You're supposed to speak slow and massage the muscles in your mouth so you're able to speak. And with years and years of practice, you'll be able to speak at a normal rate without speech being slurred. While I was getting my speech better, I wasn't listening to what they were really telling me. When I would leave the classroom, I would speak really fast and then my speech would be slurred, so it wasn't really helping me. The only thing they could really do was keep teaching me, but at one point be old enough to realize that I need to do this if I will have people understand me. Not just to my parents, but to the person behind the counter or a person on the phone. It is something that you need to use every day. And if people don't understand you, then they will probably not listen to you. While my body was relatively in normal shape, I participated in doing sports. My favorite sport was doing baseball, but I also love to do gymnastics. My grandma was telling me the other day that when I would do gymnastics, I would try to be a perfectionist. I also would be very stubborn. So when there was a cartwheel to do, I would keep doing it until I got it perfect. When it was time for me to go home, I didn't want to go home. I wanted to keep practicing. I kept practicing even when I was home. I always wanted to be better than myself. I always tried to do the extra challenge or whatever. So when I would go home, I would play the game with my sister. We would lay on our backs, we would put our legs high up in the air, and we would balance pillows. And we would see how many pillows we could balance before it would fall. We kept doing it, and it was so much fun, but I always wanted to keep doing more. I wanted to get better at it. While it was extremely hard to balance 3 or more pillows, I just kept wanting to do it, just so I can get a 4th pillow and a 5th pillow. When I was growing up, I didn't realize or know that my life was going to be different. I didn't know if tomorrow I was going to wake up and not be able to stretch my arms. That never occurred to me. I just always woke up and doing what needs to be done. So even when my arms were locked, I would still try to play baseball. Maybe I couldn't play professionally or good at another player, but I worked hard at doing it. I kept trying to do it. I kept trying to do it until my body didn't allow me to. That my arms were too limited to swing a bat anymore. I remember we would go to the park, and one summer I could be able to ride a bike and play baseball and stuff. And then that summer I couldn't. I never really thought of it then. I just knew that I couldn't do it anymore. Want to know something interesting? My first word was no. Never realized how much my life would be reflected by that one simple word.